The Grand Assembly of Andromeda had seen many peace summits in its 1,000-year history, but never one quite like this. High Mediator Velthran surveyed the vast crystalline chamber where representatives from 47 warring species sat in carefully arranged neutral zones, their ancient grudges filling the air with tension so thick it was almost visible. At the center of it all sat the humans, 3 unassuming figures in simple dark suits, carrying nothing but old-fashioned paper notebooks and looking remarkably calm for a species that had been invited as an afterthought. The Korthani-Vex-High conflict has persisted for 8 centuries, Velthran announced, his voice echoing through the chamber's acoustic amplifiers. Billions have died. Entire star systems have been rendered uninhabitable. We gather today in hopes that wisdom might finally prevail over warfare. The Korthani delegate, General Krextas, rose with obvious disdain. High Mediator, my people have suffered countless atrocities. The Vex-High destroyed our sacred temples, enslaved our children. There can be no peace without justice. Across the chamber, Admiral Zwianthiachera of the Vex-High collective hissed through her translator. Justice? Your people invaded our breeding worlds. You committed genocide against our hatchlings. We will have blood for blood. And so it began, the same circular arguments, the same ancient grievances, the same impossible demands for reparations that could never be satisfied. For 6 hours, Velthran watched species after species present their cases, each one more intractable than the last. That's when the human delegation requested permission to address the assembly. Ambassador Elena Santos stood slowly, her gray hair catching the chamber's soft light. She didn't approach the central podium like the others. Instead, she remained in her seat and simply began to speak. My name is Elena Santos. 43 years ago, I was 8 years old when soldiers came to my village. The chamber fell silent, burned my home, and took me far from everything I'd ever known. Her voice carried clearly through the vast space without amplification. I hated them. For years, I dreamed of nothing but revenge. General Krextas leaned forward, his 4 eyes focusing intently on the human. When I was 16, I escaped. I spent 3 years planning my return, not to rebuild, but to destroy. I wanted to make them pay for what they'd taken from me. Elena's hands remained steady on her notebook. Do you know what I found when I finally made it back to my village? The chamber held its collective breath. Orphans. Children whose parents had been killed by my people in retaliation for what happened to mine. 8-year-old faces staring at me with the same hate I'd carried for so long. She looked around the assembly, meeting eyes across species barriers. That's when I understood the choice we all face. Ambassador Santos stood and walked to the center of the chamber, her movement creating ripples of attention throughout the assembled delegates. Every one of you is right. You've all suffered injustices. You've all lost people you loved. You've all earned the right to your anger. Her voice grew stronger. But here's what I learned in that burned village: anger is the only debt that grows when you pay it. She turned to face the Korthani delegation. General Krextas, your pain is real. Your losses matter. But will killing more Vex-High children bring back your sacred temples? Then to the Vex-High, Admiral Zwianthiachera, will destroying more Korthani worlds heal the wounds in your breeding colonies? You ask us to forget, General Krextas began. No, Elena interrupted firmly. I ask you to remember differently. Remember not just the pain, but the possibility. Remember not just what was taken, but what could still be built. She reached into. Peace isn't the absence of conflict, Elena continued, her words carrying the weight of lived experience. It's the presence of choice. The choice to let tomorrow be different from yesterday. The choice to build instead of burn. The choice to see your enemy's child not as a future threat, but as a future friend. She looked up at High Mediator Velthran. We humans have no ancient wisdom, no superior technology, no mystical insights. We only know this: every war ends eventually. The question is whether it ends with victory or understanding. And understanding, my friends, is the only victory worth having. As Elena returned to her seat, something unprecedented happened in the Grand Assembly, spontaneous applause from species that had been killing each other for centuries. High Mediator Velthran realized he was witnessing history, the moment when words proved mightier than weapons, when will triumphed over war.